So your EP called Solitude is out. I loved it. It's so beautiful. I was wanting more songs. It's so
Aw,
good.
thanks.
It's different for you though, because you were creating this in your home studio during a pandemic. So how was the
Yeah.
creative process like during quarantine?
Yeah, so it is kind of crazy that this year so much has happened this year, but I basically what happened was I was on tour. I only got about 4 shows in, of course, before everything had to get canceled and shut down. So I was actually in the UK, and right before that tour, I was surprised I got the writing bug, because my previous album, Inspired by True Events, people might know, but it was the songs were just like a little bit older, so I was kind of holding on to them for a while. So by the time it came out, it definitely was still, still true to what I was feeling, but it kind of represented more of a specific season in my life. And so with that being said, I got the writing bug right when that album came out. I was like, okay, time for the next one. Let's like move on. Let's, keep it current. And I was in a much better place. So I wanted songs that would kind of represent where I was at in life. So by the time the tour got canceled, in a weird way, I was kind of excited to kind of, obviously sad that I had to cancel a tour. Never want to do that. But when I got home, I was like, oh, maybe this is an opportunity, kind of blessing in disguise, to be able to just like pour out all these ideas that I have, and also kind of get back to, producing and writing just on my own, which I hadn't done since my first EPs. So it was cool. It felt like I was going back to my roots, even with like the Drake cover. Like that was kind of a nod to like the YouTube days when I would do covers. So I think it was just so meant to be, and it just felt so good to just like write about whatever, sing however I wanted, and just kind of like be free in my own home. So that's kind of how the whole EP came about, and I'm so happy with it.
Oh, I love it. But how long did it take you to complete Solitude?
Oh, I want to say, I think I was literally looking at like the dates of when, like in the sessions, like the recording sessions, you can look at like the date that you created it. And the oldest song, I started the idea first for the song Glad. That one's the oldest one. That was like a year, I think it was like March of 2019, where I just kind of had like the idea for it. And then all the rest of them just like came, I mean, right when quarantine started. So like March of this year. And then I obviously took Glad and kind of like finished it, because it wasn't finished at all. It was probably just like the chorus or something.
Well, how many versions of a song do you make before you're like, yes, this is it. I don't need to change anymore. I love it now.
It depends. I mean, Glad I think is a good example of, I knew the concept. I wanted it to for sure be kind of a love letter to my husband, but also like kind of letting people know that like just because you're married or just because you're in love doesn't mean it's perfect. Like there's obviously going to be, trials and just figuring each other out. So I knew I wanted it to be about that, but I probably went through, I mean, probably like 5 different versions of that song. Cause I also, I mean, it's not just the writing, but then it's like, okay, do I want it to be stripped down? Do I want it to have like a full on beat and like a whole production? So it's just kind of like all about messing with it and, trial and error. But some of the other songs, I mean, sometimes it just happens. Like Value, I think it just sort of happens. I mean, yeah, it just depends, I think, on the song. And, sometimes it's like I'll wake up and have the whole song in my head, and it just happens. And then at other times I'll get like a little idea, and then it'll morph and it'll change. And I mean, I still have ideas in my phone from like 3 years ago that I'm like, oh, this might be a cool song one day. But it's like, obviously you'd want to tweak it and make it more current. So yeah, it all just depends. I'm all over the place with my songwriting.
And now for the title, because already just hearing the title Solitude, I was like, yes, this is a great word for 2020.
Yes.
Where did that come about?
I really wanted this EP to be literal. I wanted, everything from the artwork to the title to the sound. Like I wanted it to be the type of music where I would look back on my whole catalog one day and be like, oh, that was the one, 2020, that was obviously the one that came out during quarantine and everything. So, I mean, I was just looking up different words one day. I think I looked up like synonyms for isolation, because isolation felt like too harsh to me. So I was just kind of like brainstorming, on Google. And then when I came across the word solitude, I liked that it had kind of like a positive side to it as well. Like it literally said on there, like being in solitude is something that like we all need actually sometimes, because like, good things can come out of it. So I liked that meaning, because for me, something kind of cool came out of, the whole quarantine situation, as as crazy as it is, and as hard of a time as it's been for everybody. It's kind of nice to just be able to still create, I guess, during this time.
Now, what would you say is your favorite song on the EP?
Oh, that's so hard.
I know. I was thinking that it was hard for me. So
really, well, that's good. That's a good thing. I think it changes all the time for me, because I'm just just one day I'll like a certain song better. But one of my faves is for sure "Don't Take Me Home," because I think that's one of the songs that just like felt like it flowed out of me. And I got a track sent from a bunch of tracks from this one producer, Spencer Stewart, and I just loved that track. And I think it also feels like nostalgic, and it kind of nods to, like, it feels like something that could have been on maybe one of my older EPs. So just, I don't know, it just feels like me, everything from like the chords to I love all the backgrounds and stuff. So I think I had a lot of fun making that one.
Okay, I like that one too. I really don't have a favorite. I couldn't decide because they're all very different vibes, and I don't know, they mean something different. But I do really love Unbothered.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I like Unbothered. I really did. But then you come out with the video that just recently got released, and I love that too. But the whole vibe and style is kind of different from what we've seen from you. So how did that process come about? Creating this concept?
So for Unbothered, that song was actually the last song to be added to the EP, and it was actually sent to me. So I got it sent, and I was like, wait, this sounds like me. Like, it sounds like I would have written this, or it just sounds like it would fit so well on this EP. So yeah, I cut the song, recorded my vocals on it, and then it did feel different for me though, but in a good way though. Like, I think, like I said earlier, coming off of my last full-length album, Inspired by True Events, it was definitely more on the vulnerable side and just kind of like sad. And, it was a real thing. It's literally called Inspired by True Events. So it's obviously like, a hard time that I went through a certain season of my life, but coming out of that and having so much healing from that, and moving on into a new season, it felt so good to sing a song about just like feeling free and just feeling good, and it's just really lighthearted. And so I think that's kind of the vibe we wanted to bring into the music video too, is just like really beautiful visuals. Obviously with COVID, we had to kind of get creative as well as like what kind of video that we were going to do. So it was like all outdoors, just me kind of frolicking around in a field, and then we added some cool like graphics and stuff around it. So and I wanted it to feel kind of like DIY too, just like kind of just almost like something you'd see on Tumblr or something. Like I find myself like scrolling through Tumblr all the time. So yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. I think it's really cool.
I think so too. Now, I might be a little ahead of myself, but will you be going, or even thinking about going on tour after the pandemic, whatever that will be? Are you in talks?
I will say I'm like itching so bad just to like somehow play shows again. I know I've seen, you know, different artists try to experiment with like drive-ins and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's a possibility, or, you know, maybe, you know, at some point, you know, I'm hoping obviously it'd be safe again to do concerts. But yeah, I'm just kind of like waiting it out and seeing, because it's just weird. It's like I really do miss it. I think the whole like live stream and, you know, all the different you know, I was going on like Instagram live for a while. Like those have kind of kept me sane, even though it's not the same as performing in front of a crowd. But you know, it's still performing. So
Yeah.
yeah, making it work
How do you
somehow.
feel about these award shows, you know, like MTV awards and stuff? Everything has been virtual.
Yeah.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like, I like that people are making the best of it and things aren't just necessarily getting canceled all the way, but it's like, okay, how can we make this work? There's enough creative people in our industry where it's actually been fun to see how people have gotten so creative with like how to make these different events work. So I have been liking that, but yeah, it
Yeah.
is interesting.
I'm surprised how well it's actually working. I mean, of course, I miss in-person things, but yeah,
Mm,
everyone's getting super creative. Uh,
yeah.
but what do you think will be your favorite song to perform?
Ooh. That's a good question. I think based on, because I feed off of the fans a lot. So just based on like what they're telling me and just the comments I'm seeing, I feel like Value would be so fun, because that's like like people really like that one. I like that one. And I could just see people singing along to it at a show. So yeah. Oh, now I'm picturing it and I'm like getting sad. I want it to happen so
Oh
bad.
no, yeah, soon, soon, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
No, but it has been a bummer that certain things have been canceled because of the pandemic, but it hasn't been all bad. Like you said, there's people are getting really creative, and it's also
Mhm.
been a great time, I mean, I feel this way, to like discover new things about yourself, new skills,
Hmm.
activities. So has there been any new hobbies that you found that the
Hmm.
pandemic has brought you closer to?
I feel like I don't know if it's a new hobby, but I think I've tried to like really organize my house.
Mm.
And I mean, literally even just yesterday, I was like just plotting, like I mean, I have like no art on my walls, like they're really bare, and I've been here for a minute. So things like that, like wanting to just make my house feel like more homey and more cozy. You know, figuring out like just little touches here and there. I think I would like to say that I got better at cooking, but I don't know if that's true. I enjoy it more probably now. You know, because I think cooking's fun, and just like trying to figure out ways to make like healthy food taste bomb. Like that's something that I think is fun. And kind of like to surprise my husband with it, because he'll be like, wait, what, this is vegan, and I'm not like a full on vegan, but I think cooking vegan is fun for some reason. um so yeah, stuff like that. I think I've become definitely more of a solidified dog mom for sure during quarantine, because we actually added a new little puppy during quarantine, so that's been fun. They've been just like, they just go crazy all day and like play fight with each other. I locked them downstairs literally for this interview because they would be so loud.
Oh man, so you're quarantining with new puppies and
Yeah.
your husband. Not that I'm putting puppies and your husband in the same, but how
Yeah.
has that been? People are saying, you know, quarantining with a significant other is either like the best, we've gotten closer, or it's just like, oh my God, they're driving me nuts, or I'm driving myself nuts. So how has that been?
Yeah, it's actually been really good. I mean, if you listen to Glad though, there's literally a line in the song that's like, it says like, you still be getting on my nerves. So but it's like, I still love you. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. I think we also were long distance for most of our dating relationships. So I think it's almost like I think we just appreciate like our time together. Like we haven't, you know, fully gone like, I need to get away from you kind of thing. And plus like I was maybe a good thing was that, I mean, I was really busy recording in my studio all the time. So that kind of became like my quiet time. And then, you know, when we see each other, it's like, I think we can appreciate it more. But yeah, he's great. It's been fun to quarantine together.
I mean, that's goals. If you can get through a pandemic quarantine together, you can get through anything. This is great.
Yes, yes.
Set you up for a good thing. But all other people, especially entertainers, have been really going hard on TikTok. Like that has
Oh my
taken
gosh.
over. Have you gotten into it, or are you just you're like, I'm gonna let the others have their fun?
I have finally given in to TikTok. It took me a while because I didn't understand it, and you know, I was starting to feel like, am I getting old? Like, what is happening? But then what really did it for me was what friends would start sending me, like really funny stuff. And I realized it's really similar to, like, I used to love Vine because I would just go on there if I wanted to laugh, like belly laugh, cry laughing, and I would know exactly where to go, and you know, it was almost like instant laughter. So I think with TikTok, it's cool because the little, like, what's it called, For You page,
Yeah,
it starts to know you, and it's
crazy.
crazy. It kind of freaks me out still, but like it literally, like every time I click on it, it's like, oh, you knew I would love this. So yeah, now I mean, I think it's so fun. I'll probably start posting more too on it because I think it's just like a cool, like it's a different corner of the internet kind of thing that I think could be fun to explore.
Oh yeah. I mean, and fans initially started to love you from your covers on YouTube, and
Mm.
now many unknown talent are using TikTok to start like singing, doing short covers. Like, what's your advice to those people who are just trying to like build an audience on TikTok or whatever other platforms?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different, I think, than a little different than, you know, when I was on YouTube. I think maybe just even the fact that there's more, it's more common, like, to find people singing on there. So I can imagine it would be tempting to like get down on yourself and just, you know, because there's so many other singers and whatever. And as somebody who, you know, has struggled for sure with like just comparison, I think that's always my main advice, is like to really try to not compare yourself to other people as hard as it is. And just, and I think really practice your craft, you know, like really hone in on what it is that makes you you, and just like go for it. Because I mean, I can only speak from experience, and I just remember having a moment, you know, when I was posting YouTube covers and stuff, and just kind of realizing that I was just going to do songs that I wanted to do, not necessarily always do like the popular top hits, which is fine. And I did do that sometimes, but I think I really wanted to, you know, show my original music, even though those videos would get like way less views in the beginning,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Where it was like, okay, it's tempting to do this, but you know, you're kind of, the internet's so cool because you have the ability to like really create the career that you want in a way. Like you get to kind of do it all yourself, which can be really fun. So that was a lot, but that's a long answer. But basically, main thing I would say is just to try not to compare yourself. You know,
Oh, that is great advice. It's so hard. It's very difficult, but
it
yes.
is, especially with like social media, is just like makes it way harder for sure. As if it wasn't hard enough already. You know what I mean? So
Yes. Well, other than that, like, who have you been jamming out to? Who have you been appreciating lately?
mm, oh my gosh, I've been listening to. I love Anderson Paak.
Mm.
I love Lucky Day. I've been listening to. Um, who else? I'll have random spurts of like just wanting to listen to like instrumental music or like just classical music. I almost think of it as like a palate cleanser, kind of, like, because I'm so around music all the time. Literally, I mean, just last night I was just feeling like in a mood, I guess, and just listen to there's a piano player named Alexis French who I discovered on a plane one time because I was just like clicking playlists to like help me fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then the song came on and I was like, what is this? And I just started crying, and there's no words or anything. Just like the way that he plays just made me so emotional. So yeah, I'll listen to him a lot if I just want to kind of like clear my head and relax. Gosh, I know there's like so many more. It's crazy how music is now. It's like all about playlisting now. It's like I probably have a million just random. I'm all over the place. I listen to everything.
Okay. Well, about being all over the place right now, I'm gonna like do a quick jump because it's the holiday season coming up, and I'm so excited because you have a holiday album coming out, and I got to hear a little sneak peek, and I'm obsessed. Christmas like music and holiday music is my favorite, and you know songs that I love. But how did this come about?
So I have always wanted to do a Christmas album. People have always told me that I should do a Christmas album, and this year of all the years, it for some reason felt like the time to do it. And you know, also with I think taking advantage of the fact that I have a home studio here, I could do it all remotely and safely from a distance and everything. And so yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. It was literally like, let's do an EP and then go straight into recording a Christmas album, because you have to start really early. So it was, we were going through a heat wave in LA, and I'm in my studio sweating, recording Christmas songs. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'm so happy with I love Christmas. So I think it feels so good to like finally have a body of work that's like Christmas music.
Oh yes. And the legend that is Babyface executive produced this. How did this link up happen?
Oh my gosh. I still freak out when I actually realize like Babyface did my album. And he's so nice and just like so warm and sweet and just the best. But he basically, gosh, how did it happen? I think me and my team were trying to brainstorm. We knew we wanted someone to come in and kind of help oversee the whole entire project. So we were just kind of throwing names out. And I remember one day going on Spotify and just like looking up all of my favorite Christmas albums and trying to, see who did this album and who's the producer on it and stuff. So I somehow got to his album just from clicking around, and I was like, wait a second, like what me thinking it's a long shot too. I was just like, what about Babyface? Like, I don't know if he's even like free. Like, it was just a total long shot in my mind. I texted my team and they're like, wait, I kind of love that. And they reached out and he was down. Right. Freaked out. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how did this even happen? So yeah, we did the whole album basically just like over text and email, and just like he would send me a track, or like I would sometimes have kind of an arrangement in my head that I wanted to do. Picking the songs actually was the hardest part. Like there's so many Christmas songs.
Yeah.
So many. So yeah, I would, once you get the songs you want, it's like, okay, now how do we make this song that's been done a million times? How do we make that feel like me? So I would sometimes have like an idea on guitar, send him a voice memo, and then he would come back with like a whole track made, and then I would basically record my vocals to it. That was kind of like the main flow that we started to get into, and it was just a dream. I still can't believe that we made a Christmas album together. It's wild.
Nice. I'm like, wow, that must be nice. But also, I'm glad that, Babyface is iconic, but a lot of people, especially like millennials, don't know him, and that really makes me mad. But he had like a comeback with, I don't know if you've been tuning into Timbaland and Swiss Beats Versus.
Yes.
He had his little comeback, which is great. I'm like, really, you guys didn't know who he was, but
right.
do the versus battles. Who would you want to go? No, it's not up against because it's a celebration. Who would you want to celebrate
Oh, oh my gosh, that's so hard.
with?
I don't know who would feel like. I'm open to suggestions.
Oh my god.
I don't even know. That's so hard to
Like
pick.
Demi Lovato?
Oh, I'd be so
I
down.
feel like that because
That would be fun. Because we just like vibe out to each other's music and stuff, basically.
yeah. I think that'd be a good one.
I'd be down. I'd be super down.
If the,
I just would love to do something with her. Like we've kind of been like chatting on the side. So hopefully we've been talking about maybe doing a collab. So that's fun.
ooh.
Hopefully that
Oh,
happens.
I mean, what else could do? Say more about these potential collabs.
It's always, but what people, I think what people don't know, because on Twitter it's like, oh my gosh, collab. Like every time we interact at all, like if I interact with anyone, it's like, oh my gosh, do a song, and it's like, yes, I would absolutely love to, and I think the it, it's cool when there's like that mutual, I guess just mutual desire to want that, like, you know, oh, that'd be so dope one day, and then after that, it's like it kind of has to line up perfectly. It's like the right song, the right timing, like everything has to kind of make sense. So yeah, I would absolutely love it, you know, if it were to happen. That would be dope.
But still nothing yet.
But that's all I can say. Because I don't have any other details
All right.
for
And
you
just
guys.
going
Sorry.
back to, because I just went off on a tangent. I just thought about those versus battles. And got
Yeah.
excited. But like back to the holidays, do you have any holiday traditions or like your favorite holiday memory?
Hmm. I think when I think of holiday traditions, the main one I think that's really stuck, and the one that I could see myself continuing. It's really simple. It's these it's these like they're not cinnamon rolls. They're called orange rolls, but they're literally like the most basic. Like they're the Pillsbury like in the can. Like when I first started saying like, oh yeah, we used to make orange rolls. Like I would say that in other interviews, and people people would be like, oh, that's so cool, like homemade orange rolls, wow. And I'm like, wait, no, they weren't homemade. Actually, they're just from the can. So I yeah, it's like the most simple thing ever, but it's so comforting because we would always do it growing up. My mom actually did it through her whole childhood, so that's kind of why, you know, that's why she started doing it when she had a family, and then that's something I think I could just pass down. They're just so good and they're so underrated. Like I highly recommend.
Okay. And now, I mean, you are married. You guys were just came up on your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, we
So
did.
how do you do the holidays? Is it like, do you go to his family one year? How are you guys doing? Are you doing your own little family thing now?
Yeah, I think every year is kind of like, you know, have to play it by ear, and because it's weird. It's like now all the kids, you know, kids meaning me, like all the kids are kind of getting older and starting their own families. So it's kind of like I've never really experienced this yet, where it's like we have to figure out like, hey, where are we going? You know, there's these cousins over here who are hosting, and then these cousins and like aunts and uncles and everything. So yeah, we found ourselves kind of like just yeah, just kind of figuring out where to go. We've actually hosted well, no, wait, that was Thanksgiving. Yeah, we hosted Thanksgiving, which was fun. But another cool thing though is our families actually live pretty close, so we got pretty lucky. We can just like go down to kind of see everyone at once. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too hard, but I don't really know what we're doing yet this year because we're super last minute too. So
All right, and just sorry, last question. Again, just jumping around. But because we got to grow with you, we got to see your rise from YouTube, American Idol, till now, and it's only gonna get better. But just one thing or a few, I don't know, that people might not know about fame. You know, everyone thinks they know how it is, and I just feel like, especially due to social media, people have just the wrong idea about celebrities and fame. So just what's your like insight to being a celebrity?
That's actually an interesting question. I don't think I've gotten like that question in that way before. But I mean, I can only, obviously, like, everyone's experience is different, so I can't say like this is how it is for everyone, and like just, you know, just be, um yeah, I can't speak for other people, but and obviously there's, I guess, different levels. Like, there's obviously people more famous than me and whatnot. So I mean, I can only speak for myself, and for me, it's definitely been weird because because I guess I always just love to sing. So I think for me, it was like, wow, I'd be watching like an award show or something and be like, wow, I'd love to, I just wanted to be on like every stage. I wanted to just sing everywhere and have my music be heard. And for me, that didn't register as like, I want to be famous. It was just like, I want to sing. I want people to hear my music. I want to have something to say. And, I want to write songs and this and that. But then there came a time where I realized that kind of came with it, where, obviously it's like, okay, well, if you want your music to be heard by as many people as possible, then, that's called being famous, kind of thing. So I think, as when I was younger, like I didn't really get that. But now I think, knowing that it comes with it, I think it's just, it really is a weird thing. I mean, I don't even know if we as humans were like meant to experience. I mean, there's people way more famous than me. So like, I haven't dealt with the things that come with that level of fame. And I see people dealing with stuff where I'm like, I can't even imagine, because that's just like a lot. So I don't even know if we were like meant to have the attention of that many people, and having people like look at your every move and kind of pick things apart, and wondering what your views are on like every single thing in the world, and like things like that. I just, and then you add social media to it as well, and that's just like a whole nother, now there's people who are famous for things that they wouldn't have been famous for like back in the day. So I don't even know what I'm like, how I'm even answering this right now. I'm just rambling because I think it's actually an interesting question. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think I'm just still learning. I think that's the best way to answer, is like, I don't even really know sometimes what it means. I definitely try, whenever it does feel like too much and it's like, overwhelming, I always try to remember the people around me that I like really trust. I try to just focus on them, and also focus on the reason why I do what I do, which is like the love of music, and to even like to uplift people and encourage people, and hopefully inspire them in some way. And I try to think of the positives. I remember there'd be days on tour where, because I was doing meet and greets like every single day, it's like a couple hundred people every day, which pre-COVID, obviously I'm like hugging everybody and stuff, and like, which is great, like I love it so much. But there, there's those few days where I was like, okay, like this is a lot. And I think I'm kind of like I carry a lot too. Like I can kind of feel people's emotions. I think it's like an empath, I think they call it. But yeah, so I think that after a while was like starting to wear on me, because people would like tell me their life stories and stuff, and like I love it so much. But it's just after a while, I just remember being like, ooh, okay, this is a lot. But then I just like remember and have those moments where I just put things into perspective and remember why I do it. And I wouldn't trade it. I really wouldn't, because I think I love what I do so much. I love that I'm able to share music with people, and that people do come up to me and tell me like how it's gotten them through a season of life, or whatever it is. That for me, like, just trumps all of like the negative stuff. So that was a super long answer, but
I always wondered.
Great question.
It's one thing to have the dream, but then it actually is happening, and not only it's happening, but now you have like thousands of people who are looking to you for everything. And I just thought that has to be the weirdest thing. So no, that was not a rambling answer. That was really
okay.
Thank you.
No, I do like that question, but yeah, you're so great. This has been awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.